All right, good morning, peoples. Let's jump in here on Coney. I'm going to do Misty soon separately. Okay, so what transpired on Friday? Well, let me show you a sheet here. This is the Coney info, right? They use coin as the underlying, but it's the Coney info. So they closed out two weekly naked calls. There were no synthetics put on. They did have money brought into the fund, but they're going to be using that money for payout later today, right? On Monday the 8th. So they closed 14 cents on something. I'll show you in a second what they sold it for. And this one they bought back for 8 cents. So while Coney was down because it's ex-dividend date on the 5th, right? Because the 4th was the real ex-dividend date, but there's no trading. So it shows up as the ex-dividend on 7/5 with the reducing the dividend payout, and then 7/8 is the payout date. So one of them cost us 14 cents, the 230, and then the 232.5 cost us 8 cents to buy back. And then we went and wrote new weeklies, right? Same volume. And we got 294. The reason these are separated is you got 294 for the real large quantity one, and then later they got 4 cents more for 1100. So that gets reflected here. This is the 7/5. So we closed out Friday and we made 95. Oh, I have to sneeze. That was a good sneeze. Okay, so we closed that out for 95.39. So just to show you, we sold the 8 cent one that we bought back for 275, and the one that we sold for $3, the big large quantity, we closed out at 14 cents. So mathematically, I show that on the weekly and the holding that netted us 95.39% of what we had already sold. So what's the second phase? Well, then they sell new ones, right? 1 week out, 7/12s, and they chose a 235. Again, they didn't really ladder them, but it's 5% out, right? So, and then let me show you what happened to the individual. So because I had a duplicate line here, this is the real data. So we were only down 0.56% in coin. As you know, Bitcoin was down quite a bit for a while, and then it rallied back a little bit. So a negligible reduction. Over here, we're showing 7.88. But remember, we paid 157. So if you subtract 157, you're going to get like 1925. So we were down 7 cents below just what they would have subtracted for the dividend. So pretty close. I didn't do the math to see if it equates that, 7 cents on 19, really equates. But I would say they were real close to following each other on that day. All right. So the good news is we collected 8.5 million, whereas we had collected 8.6, and then we paid almost 400,000 to buy it back, right? So hopefully this one we win it all, but I'm sure some of you diehard BTC people, and again, I'm bullish mid to long term. I can read the tea leaves now, but who really knows, right? So just to update you, we're 55,000-ish as I speak. And again, to me, 56 was kind of a number that once they broke 60 and 59 twice, they were headed to. If it continues down, the next big support is 52 to 50, major support. If it breaks that support, 44.6 is another major line in the sand. Anybody who follows Fibonacci, that represents a 50% retrace from this whole impulse leg up, from the bottom of this last leg up to the 74, right, would be double the distance of the 74 down to 44. So it was quite a big wave up. And sometimes that's what waves do, is they retrace 50%. There's a 38.2, and I forget right now offhand which number relates to 38.2, but it's probably one of the numbers up in the 59, 56 kind of numbers. Again, I don't have it in front of me. And all these are is probability, folks. Nobody knows tomorrow where it's going, but there's some probability when resistance levels break that it goes to the next resistance level. Okay, so done with talking about the detail there. Let's go over here. So we had 32,550,000 shares. And again, this is a sale. People see the sell on Coney. I don't remember what the low was for the day, but it was probably well in the 18s. And, it closed at 19.18. And we may see this again on Monday, in all honesty. I wasn't a big buyer because I'm more wanting to get it when I see it turns up. I'll nibble in here, right? If it gets into the low 18s, I'll nibble. If it goes down to 44.6, I don't know what that translates to. Is that 16? Your guess is as good as mine. You can do some correlation, but they don't always hold, true 100%. But I would probably add some more. That's why I keep dry powder, as the saying goes, right? I mean, if you load up all you got on this thing and you watch it go down, you might as well turn your laptop, desktop, or mobile phone off in terms of looking at a stock price screen, because it'll just drive you nuts. You'll be saying, look how much I lost, look how much I lost. Well, you didn't lose anything if you didn't sell. I always give that analogy. If you put rental property in place, and the home prices go down 30%. Now, I get it. Sometimes rents stay what they've been, even if the house value goes down. And ultimately, if these funds go down, then how much they can collect, typically, the IV on that NAV price is lower, so sort of your payments sort of go down as well. But on that rental property, you don't run out and sell it. You figure you're going to own it for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, whatever your particular setup is in real estate. So anyway, I wanted to give you that. Let's jump in to what else is going on. So let's look at weekly. How does it look? We still look pretty good on the chart. Again, this resistance line in the bull flag, right? The pole in the flag tells us what we're doing, and I see that hanging up here. So again, this is to repeat what we did last week. 95.39% of what we were paid, we collected. We're now in a -9, and I'll show you that in holdings. We're not that far from having written it because it came back up. So here's the 223. That was only down a point or so. And, Coney was down the $1.80, and $1.57 of it is because the ex-dividend shows the value dropping based on the payout. All right, let's look at holdings, and I'll get to payments for you guys. So, whoops, I didn't update this one. 19, so that's 556,99875. I did everything else on it, so minus 69. I don't like to copy the exact value, because then when I create the new value, it just carries forward, and I don't want it to carry forward. All right, so we're at 13 million loss on our synthetic, down a little bit from 9. These other numbers are before, when we were in a 60 million. So we were in a 260. So we went down respectively in a 230. So once Bitcoin turns, whenever it is, and if we're still in this 230, then we have the ability, okay, whoops, that's the wrong one. I want to be in 232. We have the ability, I didn't update this, but we're closer, right? When you look at how we're operating, whoops, I'll make this the July one. I want this to start reflecting, okay, where we are in the sense where we're close with 39 days to go out of being close to the strike. I like that because if we get in a bullish move, our synthetic's going to make a bunch of money. What happens when we sell way below, we collect a bunch of cash, but we got this overhang liability. So I kind of prefer it to be closer and then just leave it alone, right? So let's look at the rest of holdings. So we look okay there. We closed at 1918. They're saying fair value is 1923. Look at this share. Again, I get it, right? It's a Nordstrom, Macy's, Amazon, wherever you shop. When there's a sale, people buy things, right? So they're clearly buying Coney. You have to be a bit of a believer, if you're just buying it for yield and you know nothing about Bitcoin or even think it's positive, that's kind of foolish, right? Because sometimes it takes that, intestinal fortitude. You gotta be a believer to go in and buy. Otherwise, if BTC is going to zero and never recovering, that seems foolish, right? I don't personally believe that. Now, your favorite meme coin may do that, but I actually think that, BTC with its limited supply and just all the other things, again, it probably takes 100 hours to really understand what it is. And most people aren't willing to put that research in. And I'm not talking about just because your friends are all buying it, you buy it. I'm talking about really understanding what it is. And once you do that, I think you're pretty sold. And Michael Saylor is as good and most brilliant of a person I've ever listened to. So anyway, I'll get to the rest. So we can go right over here. So that's all I got for you in this. Here's how far we're behind now. We sold it for 8.6, it's 9.4. No big deal, right? Every day that passes, this gets reduced just with time decay. So let's go look at payments. So we finally got on this bucket, right, with the 8.5 million worth that we sold up at 235. So unless we run by that, we're going to keep this 8 million. This really reflects that big loss that we had over in the 260. This is actually a positive number and well, slightly positive, and this is a big negative number. They took the hit, right? So it's kind of ugly right now. The good news is we got a lot of time. So 4 times 8 is 32. We could almost wipe that out. And if we get this number up to $1 or more, they're going to pay some money in Coney. It's their fund that represents, think of it this way, it's the first fund at the 11-month mark that has a chance to return all of its money. It's up at $18.52, right? Now, some argue that you could have bought it for 1976, and that's true on the opening. I tended to use 20, right? Because it was all over. I think it closed in 1976, so you clearly could have bought it on the inception day for that. But I tend to use 20 for all the numbers. And if you use that, we need $1.48 to get to $20. We only need like $1.25 or something if you use in 1976. So FYI on that, not worth, going into that in great detail. But if you look at it, this is the gold standard. Even NVIDIA didn't do that, right? And so even Misty hasn't done it, but the way Misty's been paying, it should do it the fastest of anybody, right? It's already up in what? I'm going to do that next, but 952 or 1201, I think. Yeah, it's paid 1201 in 4 months. So it looks pretty clear that Misty will get its $20. Now, the person who paid 38 for Misty's not very happy seeing it lower, right? But again, that just goes back to, guys, don't chase the yield and buy at the top. But that's what most people do, sadly. But I know there's people that are willing to learn. I made all these mistakes, people. If you don't make the mistakes, you don't learn the lesson. Okay, that's what I got for you. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Have a great week ahead. See ya. Bye.